Before we get started with working with CSS in Dreamweaver, I wanted to give you a brief introduction to CSS. And CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And what it is a way to stylize text. An example of that is our page right now. Default HTML will pull in the default font on the operating system. And you can see our page is not very exciting here. If I move into Design View, it's just basic text that spreads all the way across the web page. I don't have much in terms of styling with fonts. I had 6 sizes for fonts in HTML, and that was it. And they were literally numbered 1 through 6. You could add a little color or a specific font, but it was very limiting. HTML also did not allow much control beyond your font size, your color, and your particular font you wanted to use. Well, if you think about how new the web is, the print industry goes back a long ways. And the print industry has a lot of programs that still to this day use style sheets. And what a style sheet does is allow you to store additional information on how things should look within particular content. And for desktop publishing, it had to do with print brochures for the most part, or anything you would specifically want to print. Well, CSS came about for that very same reason. And CSS styles, there is a specific panel inside of Dreamweaver. And what I want to do is show you a few of the different features and properties you can stylize. The benefits of CSS far outweigh the learning curve in trying to deal with them. What CSS does is give you back some of the control that you had completely lost once you moved into HTML. So all of my CSS styles are controlled within the Styles panel. There are other ways to control them, but this is kind of the hub for your CSS styles. And what I'm going to do is just choose a particular item, doesn't really matter what it is. What I want to do is get into the interface. And what this is ways to stylize all these different categories. And you can see there's a lot of options inside each one of these categories. And what this is an interface way inside of Dreamweaver to show you everything you can control with CSS. And it's amazing how extensive this is. When you consider all we could really do with HTML was add size, color, and font style. Now we've got a lot of different things. We can control line height. We can control underlines on hyperlinks, and if we want to get rid of them, we can even do some text transform, where we can take basic text, add capital letters to it, make it small caps. We can set sizes. We can preset families, so that if the user does not have the first item in the list, the operating system automatically knows to move right down the line and find the font that the system does have. Notice each one of these has a font family at the end of it. So that covers the type category. In terms of backgrounds, whenever we would add a background image in HTML, it would tile if the background image was not large enough to cover the entire page. Now we can control how much the background can repeat. We can control where it's positioned based on X and Y coordinates. We can set up word spacing, letter spacing, vertical alignment, text indent, and text alignment. We can even set up quite a few different display options for that particular text. The box category is where we can set our width and height, margin and padding. We can add borders, set up our lists. And we did bulleted and numbered lists. This is where you can set up an image to use instead of the bullet. CSS brings us all these different options. Positioning features inside of CSS. We can even control the cursor itself and what it looks like within CSS. And where page breaks occur, especially for print versions of your styles. So CSS gives us a lot of options inside of here, and we'll be looking at quite a few of those. The other thing that CSS will do is allow us to store all of that style information on a single sheet or in a single file where we can keep track of it very easily. This allows every page within our website to use those same styles so that we don't have to put all of that information on every page. This reduces file size, and it certainly helps in maintaining your websites. So CSS is a wonderful thing. It does take a little getting used to, and what we're going to do is walk through each piece of CSS in terms of font within this section so we can get our page looking a little bit better. And later on in the course, we will get into doing some positioning features using CSS. So CSS styles are controlled in here, and Dreamweaver CS5 has added some new features to CSS that I want to make you aware of as well.